My ambition in life is to have a busy funeral. The driving force behind my work is the pleasure of making it. You never really know what it's going to turn out to be. You might start making a lamp and it ends up being a giant mutant robot. I always used to love science fiction. One of my early influences was my cousin's husband, Brett Ewins. He was drawing this comic 2000 AD, and he used to draw these futuristic mutant characters, you know, like with artificial dreadlocks, you know, that could move around, and compound eyes and things bolted into their heads and artificial arms, and all this idea of these future cities that were just like, you know, on 50 levels and massive crowding and all these scenarios of what would happen in this futuristic world. This is my workshop. This is just like playing, really. What I'm doing is I've got these different lumps. This was another sculpture, which is no longer a sculpture. But just really not I've got any idea what it's going to turn out to be, but just playing with these shapes, and maybe I'll catch it out of the corner of my eye later on and I'll go, oh, hang on, that looks a bit like a gorilla, or that looks a bit like this or that. Actually, to be honest with you, this is starting to look like, can you see an elephant's head in that? The reason I use scrap materials and found objects is it's got all these randoms built into it because it's made for a different purpose, and that's where accidents get thrown up. It's those accidents which I rely on to make really extraordinary stuff, which is a surprise to me. I got a job in film scenery, and through that I learned carving and model making and mould making, painting, all these techniques. One film I worked on was Brazil, which was, you know, really twisted sort of 50s world gone mad in the future. And the skips at the end of that were just full of all these pipes and tubes and that. So I used to just take all that home. I used to get ideas and I think, oh, you could do that so much better. And then I'd go and do it in my place. I was a punk in 1976 and I was living in squats when I was like 16. And then I came back into London and moved to this house called the Apocalypse Hotel, which was in this squatted street in West London. So I bought an old truck, an old horse box, and through one thing and another, met a lot of like-minded people, and we went out on the road and started squatting warehouses and then dragging in scrap metal and just starting to weld stuff up until we create this whole environment. Those times when the Mutoid was born was in the ugliest part of the Thatcher era. A lot of good things were smashed, a lot of pressure was put on people in those times. But almost immediately what happened was we moved onto a piece of land. This was in 1985, and we were attacked in the middle of the night with fire bombs and clubs, and I ended up getting a fractured skull. And because of that, suddenly we had to get loads of people involved, and the first Mutoid race company was complete chaos, really. It was a complete random thing that just gelled. But it was like a creative inferno, really. And then, you know, that would build up, and then bang, hit the party, and just blow people sideways. People come up to me now going, oh, that party I saw in the 80s, I walked in that warehouse and there was a car hanging from the ceiling and there was like a car coming through the wall and there was Stonehenge made out of filing cabinets. But that's what the early parties were. The most hilarious thing in those days was driving these mad chopped machines up round London. We went round about Buckingham Palace with the skull bus, you know. We drove them to Glastonbury, we drove them to Edinburgh. That was our style, really, just turn up down Camden Market with all the sound system on it, all drumming, you know, just complete chaos. It's not really my nature to be a teacher as such. I show people by example and I try and inspire people. My feeling of life is that as long as I keep on inspiring people to do stuff, I'll always get inspiration.
I had a little model and I did experiments with it, and that's how I got it to turn. But at the moment it's not happening. I don't know if it's because I'm not getting enough space in it.
But the idea is also to turn into the curves, as it says. So it leans over one way and then it swings your body around the other way. There's an awful lot of waffle included in art. Someone summed it up brilliantly. They said that art was the untalented sold by the unscrupulous to the totally bewildered. One of the things that I feel about Mutoid art is it's really being accessible to everyone. We don't believe in confusing people with art, you know, by producing stuff that's so deep and meaningful that nobody understands what it's about. I just can't see the point of it myself. I think you've got to remember as an artist that you're an entertainer, you know, and that you're entertaining people. I've helped Banksy make some of his sculptures, like his telephone boxes, bent, you know, that were bent over. I welded those up for him. I mean, this one is one of the ones that Damien Hirst helped me make into bronze. I made it out of cast aluminium motorcycle bits, and this was an old sweeping brush, you know, for the road. We've never done galleries as such. We've always done parties, and in the party, all the sculptures are there, you know. But people don't come, you know, like, you know, to a white gallery and they stand there going, oh, this is, you know, like this, that and the other, you know, stand in this, you know, antiseptic sort of white space. They come in, they're all off their heads, you know, and they're, and a bit of this and a bit of that, and music's going, you know, and then they're seeing this thing over there and that thing over there. And it's definitely the best way to appreciate art is when you're completely off your nuts. People used to come back the next day and go, oh, God, I had to come back and see if it was really that, or I was just off my head, or somebody dropped me something, you know, and they go, no, it really was that. This is what mutation is about. You know, this is what the difference between mutation and fashion is that the essence of mutation is not take yourself too seriously. If you take yourself seriously, you have to look cool and deadly and chic and smooth. But the mutoid, you just have to look daft. That's what mutoid style is all about. This is something I'm just playing with at the moment. I'm looking for bits for this, but this is basically, you know, it's a horse, the way I see it, and this would be the ears, and then this would be the neck, and I'm just trying to really find something convincing just to bring the neck into the chest. Sometimes you haven't got the bits, and you haven't got the bits, you just got to wait until the bits turn up. We could be working in film, we could be working in computer graphics, we could be creating these things in imaginary worlds and doing well out of it, but it's to actually have the thing in this world, you know, actually in 3 dimensions, actually that you can smell it and you can feel it and you can feel it crunch the ground as it moves past, and it, you know, to actually produce something in 3 dimensions that's real, it is really the ultimate way of presenting something.